All right, and we're live.
Excellent. Thanks, Dallas. Welcome this evening. We are here to have a neighborhood meeting. We're holding this virtual neighborhood meeting for a proposed QuikTrip gas station and convenience store on Ken Pratt Boulevard, 700 block, next to the building that currently has Snarf sandwiches in it. So this evening, we're going to do this neighborhood meeting, which is part of our pre-application process. Introductions. My name is Jennifer Hewitt-Apperson. I'm a senior planner with the City of Longmont Development Services Department. And with us, I'm going to turn it over to the applicant team and let them do their introductions as well.
Hello, good evening. My name is Caitlin Hausper. I am with QuikTrip. So I am the project manager for this site. With me, I have another project manager with QuikTrip.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Glavis. I am also a real estate project manager for QuikTrip, and I am assisting Caitlin on this project.
With us this evening, we have our engineers from Galloway. So I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Aaron Johnston with Galloway. I'm a civil engineer on this project.
And I'm Hannah Porter from Galloway, also a civil engineer on the project.
And I'm Aaron McLean with Galloway as well.
Great. And then also from the city side, we have Dallas Stiles, who is our digital video live stream specialist. He keeps everything running and recorded and broadcasting and just generally keeps us all in line. So with that, if we can have the presentation, Dallas, that would be great. So just in terms of format, we are, first I will discuss the process that's going to be required. I'll turn it over to the applicant to discuss in details the project, and then we will take a 5-minute break for people to call in if they have any particular questions or comments for either the city staff or the applicant team. So detailed project description, public comment, and then I will discuss next steps before we adjourn. So with that, next slide, Dallas. So the current proposal is to construct a fueling station and convenience store on 1.84 acres roughly at 725 and 733 Ken Pratt Boulevard. This is just west of 287 Main Street. This particular property is zoned mixed-use commercial or mixed-use corridor, I'm sorry, and fueling stations do require approval as a conditional use in this zone district, which is why we're here this evening. Conditional uses do require a neighborhood meeting as well. Next slide. So in terms of the vicinity, some weird formatting happened there. As noted, this is mixed use corridor zoning. It is between Main Street and South Pratt Parkway on Ken Pratt Boulevard on the south side here, just north of Grand Avenue. And we are again about 1.5 acres or 1.4 acres. Mostly mixed use commercial in the immediate area. There is residential multifamily and residential mixed neighborhood to the south. Next slide. So just an overview of the mixed use corridor, which that should have been corridor, not neighborhood on there. Sorry about that. Mixed use corridor district is intended to basically have areas for a wide range of uses, serving city residents and businesses, complementary uses to serve folks driving through. And typically you see these along our primary corridors like Ken Pratt, like Hoover, like Main Street. And so really we are looking at supporting a variety of uses and ensuring compatibility with surrounding neighborhoods, etc. Next slide. So in terms of the process, the applicant team held a pre-application meeting on December 7th, 2022. We are here tonight for the neighborhood meeting. And following the neighborhood meeting, the applicant will be able to make a formal application for conditional site use approval. As noted, fueling stations do require approval as a conditional use in the mixed use corridor district. Next slide. So once the application is filed, staff development review committee, which consists of representatives from planning, from public works, transportation, our various environmental groups, will review the application to ensure consistency and compliance with city standards. Once we have determined that we are satisfied that the application, the proposal meets our standards and all necessary questions have been addressed, we will schedule this for public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission is the decision-making body for conditional uses. Once they make their determination, if approved, the applicant could then begin work on the site and obtain building permits, but no building permits are issued until this conditional use approval is obtained. Next slide. And with that, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you, Jennifer. Dallas, if you'll go ahead and start our presentation, I'd appreciate it. All right, as mentioned before, my name is Caitlin. I am with QuikTrip. I have been with QuikTrip now for 15 years. Started as a junior in high school and worked in our stores for the past 13 to 14 years, and recently have made the move into the real estate team. I am currently located in Kansas City and have started helping out on some Colorado projects. So I'm eager to get this project going. This is my first official Colorado project. So next slide, please. As Jennifer mentioned, why we're here this evening is to satisfy a requirement for our conditional use permit. We will have our proposed use is a 5,300 square foot convenience store with a vehicle fueling station. Next slide. A little bit about QuikTrip, also known as QT. We were founded in 1958. We are a privately held convenience store corporation with over 900 stores in 13 states, and we are growing. Next slide. In 2010, we made the move into the fresh food business by adding state-of-the-art made-to-order food and drinks. So a couple things that are my personal favorites from the menu: pretzels, pizzas. We have some awesome barbecue and some great tacos that we recently added to our menu. So we are constantly upgrading our menu and have become a destination for food. Next slide, please. Our most valued asset are our employees. The contributions of our hardworking, dedicated employees are rewarded with best wages in the industry, great benefits, and promotions from within. We're a firm believer of taking care of our employees, so they take great care of our customers. And I will tell you, we have some awesome people. We pay our people really well. We hire from the communities that we are in. We provide them awesome benefits. And as mentioned, all of our promotions are from within. So everybody starts in at an entry-level position and works their way up through the company. Next slide, please. We are committed to security. So each store has multiple alarm points and state-of-the-art digital video surveillance that is monitored constantly at our security operations center. So we actually have employees on duty 24/7, 365 that are constantly available at our disposal if there is an emergency. So our employees feel very safe working. And we are actually in the process of even enhancing this even more. So we take security very seriously. All of our employees are equipped with monitors that they can deploy at any time that will give this call center instant audio and video, and will actually allow them to call the police without our employees actually having to pick up the phone. So it's pretty sweet. Next slide, please. QuikTrip operates every store. We do not have any franchises, and that guarantees you will have the same great experience every time you come to QuikTrip. So something cool about us We're a little new to the Colorado area. I know that we have a store not too far from this one that's been open for about 8 to 9 months now. A lot of our employees that work in Colorado have moved over from different markets. So we're a firm believer in transferring our culture and training those employees in our new markets to deliver the same great customer service from store to store. Next slide, please. We have a guaranteed gasoline program. So all grades of QuikTrip gasoline meet the top tier standard, and we guarantee every drop of fuel that we dispense. So what does that mean? If there's ever an issue with your fuel, we guarantee that we will reimburse you for those repairs if it is determined that our gas caused the problem. This has been a long-standing program with QuikTrip. Next slide, please. An asset to our neighbors. The maintenance and upkeep of our stores is a high priority. We employ over 200 technicians to make repairs 24 hours a day. And as mentioned, our centralized IT department keeps our technology ahead of the curve. So we actually have our own technicians who come around to make repairs to all of our stores to make sure that everything is in a good working order for you. And keeping the store clean is super high priority for us. Behind taking care of you as a customer is making sure that our store is clean and safe for you guys. Next slide. Each store generates an average of 1.3 million in annual and local state taxes. Even more so, we donate 5% of our annual net profits to charitable organizations that go back to your communities. One of my favorite things about QuikTrip is our willingness to donate. Next slide, please. Our core values are to be the best, focus long-term, do what's right for QuikTrip, never be satisfied, and do the right thing. Our success in the C-store industry has a lot to do with developing our people and leaders. We take a lot of time into consideration with training and developing our employees. They go through a pretty extensive training program when they come on board, and that doesn't stop there. They are continuously going through training to make sure that we're providing great leaders to ultimately give you guys the best experience. Next slide, please. QuikTrip employs over 1,800 employees in our warehouse, bakeries, and commissaries. Additionally, over 1,400 people work in various positions from accountants to engineers to human resource specialists. So our corporate office is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We have a large group of people that provide supports to our stores. We make our own donuts and ship our own products. So we have stores that our stores actually get deliveries 7 days a week of fresh donuts and product to make sure that we keep our stores stocked and merchandised well for our customers. Next slide, please. That's all I have for my presentation. I'm going to turn it over to Galloway so that way you guys, I'm sure you're interested in what this site's going to look like. So Galloway's helped us design this site. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit briefly about what this site looks like and give you some pictures of what this site's going to look like. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Caitlin. Again, my name's Aaron with Galloway. I'm the civil engineer on this project. So this is the current site plan we're working through with the city here. The building, as you can see, it faces Ken Pratt. And then the fueling canopy is just off to the left side there, kind of along the building. All QuikTrips provide free air, so there will be air kind of, if you can see the striped off area to the bottom right of the store. And then there will be fueling for the underground storage tanks behind the store, kind of hidden behind. With this project, there'll be a water quality basin that will be installed along just, you can see just below the canopy, to the north of the canopy, closer to Ken Pratt. And we will also be making improvements to Grand Ave behind the store. So with that comes sidewalks that we'll be putting in adjacent to the site on both sides of the Grand Ave roadway section. So that's kind of how our site's laying out right now, and we're going to continue to work with the city to refine this and make it the most efficient layout we can.
Great. Maybe Dallas, next slide, and we can turn it over to back to QuikTrip to kind of talk through the building programming and how you all lay the site out and some of the perspectives that you have.
Absolutely. So this is what we refer to as our Generation 3 building. We put this design together off of recommendations from the city. As you can see, there are plenty of windows and a lot of architectural features to make this a really attractive building. Next slide, please. This is our gas canopy. So there will be 8 gas pumps, or which equates out to 16 fueling stations. This will just be for vehicle use. There will not be any large tractor trailer diesel fueling stations at this location. Next slide, please. So we wanted to give you guys a little bit of a pretty picture for what this QuikTrip is going to look like in your neighborhood. This is honestly my favorite part of the design process. So really cool to kind of give a little sneak peek to what this QuikTrip is going to look like. Next slide, please. Just another view here from the other side of the building. Next slide, please. Just an aerial view. I think this slide does a really good job of showing the improvements that we're going to be making to Grand Avenue. Next slide, please. And this is the view from Grand Avenue at the back. So as you can see, it will be screened appropriately from the adjacent uses. Next slide. And just one more pretty picture. Next slide, please. That's all that I have for my presentation. We are eager to be a part of your community and welcome any questions that you may have. I appreciate all of your time this evening and look forward to moving this project forward. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. So at this point, we'll go to the call-in slide. And I will let Dallas give the rundown on doing the call-in.
Sure thing. So we're going to start a 5-minute timer here for folks that are watching. If you have comments or questions, you're going to dial the toll-free number 1-888-788-0099. You're then going to enter the meeting ID 856-2083-2497. With that, we are going to take a 5-minute break, and then when we get back, I'll tell you how you can unmute yourself for us starting our comment and question section. Thanks.
Thanks, Alice.
All right, we're at the 30-second mark. It looks like we do have one caller, so I'm going to give it 30 more seconds. If there are any other callers trying to call in, that number is 1-888-788-0099. This is your chance. Enter the meeting ID 856-2083-2497. Okay, looks like we are at time. I am going to drop the slide now. And I'm gonna invite our caller to jump on. So caller, you are please make sure that your live stream is muted in the background so that way we aren't getting any feedback. I'm gonna ask you to hit *6 on your device, caller with the last 3 digits of their phone number, 691. Please hit *6 on your device to unmute. All right, caller 691, I see you're there. You have 3 minutes. Would you please state your name and address for the record?
We are Doug and Barbara Geiger. We live just across the street in the first residential house that is there. It looks to us the first thing that's happening is Grand Street is going to be pushed through, which hasn't happened yet, and that everyone going westbound into QuikTrip will have to go on Grand. Everyone eastbound will go on Ken Pratt. That could be a problem. Also, QuikTrip right now is about 2 blocks away from this one, so I assume you'll close that one perhaps. And there's also gas stations at Safeway, which is also very close. Another one is the gas smell. So that's about it.
Great.
Great.
Thank you so much.
So I can address the traffic circulation a little bit. Part of the development review process will be analyzing the various traffic movements. The applicant will have to provide a traffic study, and our engineering staff will be reviewing that in terms of ensuring the least impact on adjacent residential, but also maximizing safety for cars traveling on Ken Pratt. So that is definitely something we take into account as part of the development review process. With that, with the other questions, I will turn over to the applicant to discuss. Caitlin, is there something you can?
Sorry about that. Try now,
There.
Caitlin.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. I was like,
Sorry, we were
"Oh,
trying to unmute.
sign language here." Okay, sorry. Doug and Barbara, I appreciate you calling in and asking your questions. So first thing I do want to address is you mentioned there was another QuikTrip just a couple blocks away. That is not our convenience store. We did open one within the past 8 to 9 months, but that is closer to Highway 25. Just correct me if I'm wrong. That is off of Ken Pratt and 25, which is about 10 miles away from this current store. So we will be operating both of these locations. As far as a gas, yeah, go ahead.
I thought it was by Lowe's, so that's actually just across the street, but it must be much further then. Okay.
Yeah. There are a few other companies that have the name QuikTrip, but they are spelled with a K, W-I-K. So I'm not super familiar with that gas station over there, but I don't know if maybe that's the name of it, but we're not affiliated with them.
Okay.
As far as the gas smell goes, I'll tell you, we are super big as far as being part of the communities and making sure that we're really good neighbors and safe neighbors. And so we have a full team of environmentalists that do a lot of studies to make sure that our emission level is really low, and we stay well below guidelines. And that's something that we're constantly evaluating to make sure that we're not emitting anything that is unsafe for our community. So I would be very confident in saying that the gas smell is not going to be an issue. As Jennifer mentioned, to kind of briefly piggyback off of what she said with the traffic, we will be making sure that we stay safe. Like I mentioned, we like to be safe partners with our neighborhoods that we're in. And so we will be doing a complete traffic study and making sure that we're following those regulations to make sure that we provide a safe route for our customers and our neighbors.
Okay, a couple of things. What happened to the Sonic proposal? I guess that fell through, and the Safeway gas is only 2 blocks away, and that's almost always cheaper.
You kind of cut out there at the end, but I think you were asking about what happened to the Sonic. I can't speak on that. I do know that at this point in time that they are not moving forward their proposal, but that at this point in time, that's all the information that I have.
That's my understanding as well. I don't know that we've received a formal application or formal withdrawal of that application, but it's not an active application.
Yeah.
And what was the last part of your question?
The other comment was Safeway gasoline is very cheap, and that's only 2 blocks away. Also on Ken Pratt Boulevard, further west.
Yeah, I kind of cliche to sound, but we're definitely more than a gas station. And we pride ourselves in that to be more than a fueling station. Like I said, we partner with the communities that we work in to give back to our communities. We provide excellent quality food. And a lot of our customers come to QuikTrip on a frequent basis during the day, not just to get gas, but to stop in for drinks or any other convenience items. Very quick, clean customer service. If you haven't stopped in at the other QuikTrip that is opened, I encourage you to go stop in and say hi to somebody and maybe talk to the employees and, or other customers and see what their experience is. And I think that you would find that we are going to provide a level of service that is above the others.
And one other thing to add is that we do require this type of use go through this conditional use process, which is a higher level of review. So ultimately, instead of it being an administrative level site plan review, it is the Planning and Zoning Commission who has the decision-making authority on this particular project. So typically, conditional uses are held to a different standard. They require an additional level of review to make sure that ensure consistency and compatibility and such. So there is that additional level of review with this particular type of application.
Okay, the Sonic proposal, as we understand it, was not good because of the traffic pattern, especially for westbound traffic, which will be on Grand Street, which will be probably punched through, which is going to be making it extremely busy because people will try going westbound to avoid Ken Pratt and the south of Main Street. So we'd like to see some traffic evaluation.
Yeah, so a full traffic study will be required as part of the application process. And I am not a traffic engineer, so if one of the engineers on here can correct me if I'm wrong. But my impression is that this particular type of use will have different traffic generation than a fast food Sonic type use. So that's one thing to consider. But again, our engineering staff will be reviewing all of the traffic studies and ensuring that everything continues to function.
And it will also be a lot of eastbound traffic because people will want to go south and avoid it. We'll avoid Ken Pratt and go on Grand to get down to Main Street.
Yeah, those are, we evaluate all the traffic patterns in the area whenever we are doing that traffic study. And as Jennifer mentioned, the city will make sure that they review that thoroughly to make sure that what we're proposing is safe for your neighborhood.
All right. And with that, we have no other callers. So I think we're all good for tonight.
Okay.
Great. If I can have my last slide, Dallas.
Sure thing. Give me just a second. Jennifer, I don't think there's a contact slide in this one.
Okay. Well, so in terms of our next steps following this neighborhood meeting, the applicant is free to submit a formal application for this particular project. Which would then be assigned to planning staff, engineering staff, and start our review process. Typically, a review process for this type of project, it's hard to say. It depends on how many submittals, but as a general rule, anything requiring public hearing is generally estimated to be anywhere from 6 to 9 months in the review process. So that's where the next steps are. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is on the notice letter as well as the notice signs that went out. My name is Jennifer Hewitt-Apperson. I can be reached at 303-651-8439. And if you have specific questions for the applicant team, I can put you in touch with them as well. Anything else from the applicant team?
No, once again, I just appreciate everybody, and please feel free to reach out. As Jennifer mentioned, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you to the folks who tuned in. And I believe Dallas mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, this live stream has been recorded and will be available on the City of Longmont YouTube channel for future viewing as well. So with that, thank you and have a good night.
Thanks all. Have a good night.